Okay, so these are some of the subtopic and also the learning objective that we are going to discuss for today. So now let us go to the first one, okay, in terms of the nature of communication. Basically, when we talk about communication, as to refresh back, okay, communication is actually about passing the information, exchanging ideas, and also the processes that able to establish the commonness of thoughts between the sender and also the receiver. So as communication, currently it is very complex, and marketers, they need to understand the meanings of words, symbols, and they need to think of how they can able to influence the consumers' interpretation in terms of the products, and also in terms of the messages. So the success of communication is actually depends on many factors, as the communication normally they need to entice in terms of the nature of the message, audience interpretation, the receiver perception of the sources, the mediums that you are going to transmit that particular message. And when we talk about communication also, sometimes language also will be one of the barrier in order to have an effective communication. And these can be quite challenging for the marketers, as they need to understand in terms of these particular different languages in the different countries, different dialect, and then sometimes they have a certain linguistic punya vernacular, and sometimes ada dekat dalam certain countries tu they are bilingual ataupun dia ada multicultural ethnics. So then all of these particular items, companies, they need to understand in terms of that particular matter. As we are going to insyaAllah celebrate the Hari Raya, one of, kalau you tengok dekat negara lain, dia pun ada in terms of this particular communication barrier. Contohnya lah, ada siapa-siapa orang Johor kat sini ke? Anyone from Johor?
Ramai.
Ramai. Okay, I nak tanya dengan you all. You all panggil yang kuah kuning ada sayur-sayur tu, yang itu kita panggil, you all panggil apa? Lodeh kan?
Betul, lodeh.
Lodeh. Tapi kalau pergi ke negeri lain, in terms of communication, kadang-kadang nanti orang yang daripada negeri lain tanya orang Johor, dah makan lontong tak? Nanti orang Johor macam pelik je kan. Lontong tu nasi dia kan? Betul tak?
Betul.
So ada setengah negeri orang tu panggil, okay, nak makan lontong lah. So kalau orang Johor dengar macam like, apa ni, macam tak betul je kan. And then ada pula yang makan lodeh dengan kuah kacang, ada yang makan lodeh letak sambal bilis, ada tu yang letak dengan different sambal tumis. So basically benda ni pun boleh berlaku when the company, for example the restaurant owner, dia letaklah dekat list of dia punya menu, pun boleh jadi in terms of the communication barrier when it comes to this particular matter, sebab setengah orang dia ada fahaman yang berbeza in terms of all this particular matter. As to refresh, what is actually the communication process? Because of in MGT dulu-dulu you all dah belajar kan. So communication process, basically it will have the source or the sender. And then it goes to the encoding, channel message, decoding, and also receiver. And there will be noise, and also the response, and also the feedback. So basically, the major participants that companies or marketer, they need to foresee is actually the two things, the sender and also the receiver. Another major communication tools that the company need to foresee is actually the message, and also the channels used in order for them to convey that particular message. And the rest of it, which is encoding, decoding, response, and then feedback, or even noise, is actually something that will work between inline this particular communication process. So when we talk about the communication process in marketing, basically companies also, they need because of they are going to communicate with the customer, and they are going to disseminate this particular information about the product and also the services. So company, they need to understand in terms of this particular communication process. So when we talk about the source and the sender, normally it can be a person or it can be the organization that holds that particular information that they are going to share with that particular person. And in this particular case, we are looking in terms of the company and also the target market ataupun the target audience for that particular company's product and also services. So the source, basically it can be individuals. Let's say that the company, they are going to hire the spokesperson. For example, dia ambil lah celebrity to appear in that particular advertisement. So this particular person will be the one that's sending that particular information to the receiver, which is mean the target market ataupun the target audience. In these particular processes, normally the source or the sender itself, they need to select the words, the symbols, the pictures, anything that can represent the message to be delivered to this particular customer. And having that particular processes, so that they are going to do this particular thing that we call it as encoding. So encoding is actually when putting the thoughts, idea, the information into a symbolic forms, which the sender goals is actually where to encode whatever the message in a way that it can be understood by the receiver. So basically, this one is actually in terms of the understanding of basic of communication. So the next one in terms of message. When we talk about message is actually the one that going to contains the information or the meanings to the source hope that they want to convey. And message basically it can be in terms of verbal or non-verbal. It can be written, it can be oral, or it can be anything that in terms of symbolics also. So message normally it can be transmitted point ataupun in the transmitted form, which it can be appropriately transmitted through the channel of communication. So marketers normally they need to make a decision regarding this particular content of message that they want to convey, because of they need to come up with the structure of the message, and then they need to design the message carefully before they are going to send this particular message to the customer. And the content of the message normally it refers to the information, the meaning contains of the message, while whatever the things that they want to be, it should be put it together. As one of the example is actually by Coach. So Coach, basically they use this particular pictures of Megan to deliver the message of joy, optimism found in a new generation. So this particular image, basically it projected that the advertisement tried to communicate more than the words, which is mean they illustrated with that particular figure. I mean that this particular influencer or the spokesperson, and also with that particular bags itself. So the next one in terms of the channels. So what are the channels that the company can use to deliver this particular message? So the channel basically it can be travels from the sender to the receiver, and there are two types of channels of communication the company can use. They can have a non-personal, and also they can have personal communication channels. So non-personal channels are also known as mass media, which it carries the message without direct. They are using the interpersonal contact between the sender and also the receiver. And normally non-personal channels referred to this particular mass media ataupun mass communication, and it is directed to more than one person, and it will send to many individuals at one time. So non-personal channels normally consists of major types of media. For example, printed advertisement, broadcast advertisement. They are using newspaper, and then they are using contohnya billboard, magazine, broadcast media, radio, television. So those are the non-personal channels. So the next one the company can use is actually the personal channels. So personal channels, also known as direct communication, which it involves two or more persons. And normally people that involve within this particular personal channel, such as the neighbor, friends, co-workers, family members. So as the personal channels, normally contohnya macam um, kita ambil lah contohnya Firdaus kan nak beli something kan. So then dia akan dapatkan the message selalunya daripada orang yang terdekat dengan dia. Contohnya family members dia kata, oh okay Firdaus, if you want to buy this particular handphone, this particular brand is actually something yang bagus. So then you manage to get that particular information directly daripada these particular members, the family members of yours, who might probably experience using that particular products. So by using these particular personal channels, commonly that marketers focus on what we call it as the word of mouth, also known as WOM, and it refers to the informal communication among the consumers about that particular product and services. Other than also they can use the social media. So this particular word of mouth, normally it can comes in a different forms. For example, it can be in terms of WOM conversation, electronic WOM, online reviews, engineered WOM. So engineered WOM can refers to the intentional and also the strategic effort of the companies or individuals that they want to generate a positive conversation, recommendation, or even they want to create a buzz about that particular product, services, and also brand. Contohnya, this particular company, they appoint this particular influencer. Contohnya dia ambil lah siapa influencer yang famous sekarang ni kalau untuk buat review untuk makan-makan, kalau bulan Ramadan ni selalunya siapa yang diorang ambil? Example? Can you give me an example?
Khairul Amin.
Khairul Amin. Okay lah, contohlah diorang nak ambil Khairul Amin, okay. So then the company itself, of course, they are going to collaborate with this particular influencer. Because of this particular influencer, they have a strong following and also the credibility of that particular product in terms of promoting that particular product and also services. So then company can use this particular WOM. Another way that the company can use is actually when it comes to the personal channels, they can use what we call it as a buzz marketing. So buzz marketing, also known as viral marketing ataupun kita panggil sebagai buzz-worthy marketing. It is one of the strategy which generating positive word of mouth discussion. So it relies on the excitement about that particular products and also services when it comes to this particular matter. So when we talk about the viral marketing, so basically viral marketing is actually propagating the marketing relevant message with the help of this particular individual customer. And there are three factors of the success companies creating or implementing viral marketing program. So then they can come up with a message characteristics, individuals, sender, receiver characteristics, and then social network characteristics. So basically, the message that they want to convey, they need to design the content, and then they need to come up with a creative design of viral message, which that particular message should something have like macam entertaining information, and then dia kena ada something which is engaging, something which is novelty, humorous, or it can be something that informative to this particular customer. So there are lots of recent viral punya marketing campaign, and you can able to identify in terms of that particular matters accordingly. So when we talk about the viral marketing and also the buzz marketing, what is actually the difference between two? Buzz marketing, basically, it wants to create the excitement, which is mean ada orang tiba-tiba macam suka pasal that particular product, and there will be a conversation about that particular brand and also services. And normally, it tries to create interest ataupun curiosity about that particular products, which it leads to the word of mouth punya promotion. But when it comes to viral marketing it focus on creating content that spread rapidly among this particular customer, which it will be shared through social media punya share it. So the goals of having the viral marketing is that they want to reach at a large audience quickly, and also they want to generate a widespread of awareness about that particular products and also services. So when we talk about the channels used, also company can use influencer marketing as the influencer marketing, which they uses the social media to leverage the influence of the individuals dedicated in that particular social media. And also, the social media influencer, it can be a popular social media personality, and then something which is organic content, and then project authentic punya persona, and then the rest of it. So examples, this particular open influence, okay, they are specialized in influencing marketing, which they collaborate with the influencer on the content creation to assist the development of that particular campaign. And open influence is actually an agency that specialize in influencer marketing, and they create campaign for many brands, for example, macam Amazon, and then Target, Barilla. So this particular agency, normally they collaborate with the influencer on the content creation. So then they are going to post through the social media platform to assist the development and also the execution of this particular influencer marketing campaign. So the next step in the model of communication, which is a receiver and also decoding. So receiver is actually the person that the sender will share the thoughts and also the information. Whereas when it comes to decoding, these are the steps ataupun the process where it transforms the sender message into a thoughts. And when it comes to this particular matter, okay, decoding, normally they are heavily influenced according to the experiences, perception, attitudes, the values of that particular person brings into that particular communication process. So basically, when it comes to the receiver, of course, the receiver is actually the target market ataupun the audience that going to read, hear, see the marketer's message, and after that, they are going to decode that particular information into a thoughts, and it will change the experience, the perception, the attitudes about that particular product and also services. So the next one, which is we have noise and also response. So the unplanned distortion in the communication process normally is being known as noise. So when it comes to this particular noise, basically noise can be something that occur, which it can be an error in terms of kalau daripada sender pergi ke decoding, encoding, and then pergi ke message, and then dekat situ akan ada error yang berlaku, which is mean sometimes there will be some distortion daripada radio, TV signals ataupun the fields of experience this particular sender, and sometimes the receiver don't overlap with that particular message convey to this particular customer. So dia akan adalah gangguan-gangguan ni yang mana customer tak dapat interpret that particular message yang convey daripada sender. So then dia tak akan jadi faham in terms of that particular advertisement ataupun the message of that particular advertisement. So after that, they are going to have what we call it as a response. So response is actually a receiver reaction after seeing, hearing, or reading that particular message. And when it comes to feedback, feedback is actually a parts of the receiver punya response, which it is communicated back to the sender. So feedback, normally it can be in terms of various forms. For example, it can be in terms of closes the loop in the communication, and then they let the sender monitor the intended message and then decode and then receive it. So feedback dia akan jadi apa-apa yang company boleh dapat in terms of communicating back with that particular sender. So then if the customer might probably they want to have a certain inquiry, so then they can send that particular feedback to this particular sender. So those are some of the refresh on what is actually the communication process involved when it comes to this particular matter. So when we talk about receiver, because of we are looking in terms of marketing communication, So receiver would be the target audience, and the target audience, it can be in terms of individuals, it can be groups, it can be a market, it can be a market segment, it can be a mass market. So basically, when it comes to this particular individual, it depends on that particular company itself, whether they want to focus on the specific needs. Communication might be specifically tailored to that particular specific customers ataupun individual. But when it comes to the mass market, it will focus on the large number of present and also the potential customer. Okay, until that part, any questions that you want to ask?
Madam,
Yes?
semaksudnya encoding tu ialah idea sesuatu message tu kan?
Yes?
Okay, apa saya agak keliru tentang encoding, channel
Okay.
dengan decoding.
Okay, so sekarang ni, you bagi I satu contoh advertisement.
Uh,
Can you give
kalau
me one
contoh
example of advertisement?
Iklan je ke?
iklanan
Any advertisement.
iklan baju raya lah.
Okay, specific brand?
Bulan bintang.
Okay, so if you say that bulan bintang, okay? Contohnya lah kan. Okay, iklan bulan bintang tu berkenaan dengan apa?
Berkenaan dengan baju raya.
Okay, baju raya. So the source, the sender would be the company itself, which is mean the bulan bintang. So then
Okay.
daripada bulan bintang tu, apa yang message yang dia cuba sampaikan?
Tentang keunikan baju raya.
Okay, so then keunikan baju raya itu adalah message yang dia cuba sampaikan. And dia cuba sampaikan dan customer kena, the sender tu dia kena encode that particular message dalam bentuk simbol ataupun any form of communication that the customer can able to understand in terms of the message that they want to convey. So sekarang ni dia buatlah advertisement. Contohnya dia buat advertisement, tunjuk baju raya dia, and then the colour dia ada colour apa, and then dijual dekat mana. So itu adalah dalam bentuk encoding yang dia cuba sampaikan kepada customer. So the channel yang dia gunakan, channel message tu adalah dia menggunakan platform apa, channel apa. Contohnya dia gunakan ada TV advertisement ke, and then dia gunakan for example social media platform ke. Selepas tu, and then dalam message tu adalah masukkan all this particular message yang dia cuba sampaikan, yang hasil daripada encoding tu dia akan masukkan dekat dalam channel message tadi. Selepas itu barulah dia akan decodekan message tu, yang mana customer sendiri akan tengok in terms of for example apa yang dia cuba faham in terms of that particular message accordingly lah, which is yang message yang channel tadi yang Nida bagi tadi tu kan, okay, platform apa, nak beli kat mana, apa benda semua. So then the receiver tu sendiri akan dapatlah the whole message yang daripada awal tu yang dia cuba sampaikan. Tapi tiba-tiba along the process, contoh, ada noise berlaku. Contohnya tiba-tiba ada interruption. Contohnya dia nak buat, dia gunakan channel message dia tu, dia gunakan channel contohnya TikTok. Contohnya TikTok pada hari tu sistem dia down, and then message tu tak sampai. So macam mana dia nak decode that particular message yang during that time? Sebab itu berlakunya noise in that particular dissemination of information. Betul ke? Betul.
Okay, faham.
Tadi nampak macam Arif nak tanya something. Arif, not Arif, sorry. Khairul ke? Kai ke nak tanya?
Tanya, yang noise tu dia mesti external ke ataupun dia internal dalam iklan tu boleh ada noise ke macam mana?
Dalam iklan pun dia boleh jadi ada noise dekat dalam, tapi selalunya noise datang daripada luar.
So kalau kefahaman receiver tu pun dikira noise juga ke?
Yes, betul.
Oh, okay.
Okey ke?
Okay, madam, okay.
Okey. Ya, mana tadi tab kat tadi? Hilang dah. Okey. Yeah. Okay, so the next one. When we talk about the communication process study, okay, basically, company, they are going to disseminate this particular information. And when we talk about another factors, which is here in this particular communication system, source, message dengan channels tu are very important when it comes to disseminating this particular information to the receiver. So source, which is mean that here, the person that involved in this particular communication message will be the marketing itself, and the source normally it can be in terms of direct and also indirect. And when we talk about source, it can be direct source ataupun it can be indirect source. So source of information yang dia nak disseminate tu, contohnya macam tadi, source dia tu dia boleh datang daripada in terms of the company itself, ataupun it can be daripada the spokesperson that the company appoint from that particular product ataupun services. So direct source normally it can be from the company ataupun it can be from the spokesperson who deliver the message ataupun the one that endorse that particular product and also services. But when it comes to the indirect source normally it can be in terms of hiring a model, which normally it doesn't actually deliver that particular message. Sebab model kan dia berdiri je, dia post je kan. So model tu dia cuma digunakan untuk draw the attention and also to enhance the appearance of that particular advertisement. So dia indirect source normally the one that does not deliver the message but they draw the attention. So kalau macam spokesperson dia akan bercakap, tapi sometimes the spokesperson also dia akan jadi model to that particular brand. But sometimes certain company dia spokesperson adalah orang lain, model adalah orang lain. So that's why they can be in terms of sources dia akan jadi indirect ataupun dia akan jadi indirect. So when the company wants to use this particular source, basically they need to identify the source tu sendiri adalah something which is credible. Dia ada credibility to carry that particular source. And normally the credibility it can be defined as the extent to which the recipient sees the source as having the knowledge, skills, experience and trust the source to give the unbiased and also objective punya information. And marketers normally they try to select the individuals to represent ataupun to be this particular spokesperson ataupun to be this particular indirect source, which he or she is actually someone that can influence and sometimes they can influence of course the audience. This particular source also would be someone who are popular, physically attractive, have a power to reward ataupun to punish the receiver in a certain manner. So the credibility is actually very important because of it should be something someone yang memang ada a good credibility ataupun ada good expertise in that particular matter, and they are the one that can be someone who are trustworthiness lah in that particular processes. So this particular things is actually important when it comes to identifying and also selecting the source to be conveyed to this particular customer. Can you identify, okay, any spokesperson ataupun any models which is being appointed by the company and then suddenly dia kena terminated due to this particular certain occurrence, and the company they don't want to tarnish, and or might probably they are not someone who are successful in delivering ataupun promoting this particular product which is after they are being appointed as one of this particular spokesperson ataupun daripada being a model. Ada tak contoh? Can you give me example?
Madam, do you mean Rohainis?
Okay. What happened?
Yeah, they censored her face.
Okay, so then previously I think that Kitsui, and then ada satu lagi brand baju raya ke? Is it baju raya?
Yes. Tapi
I
tak
can't
sure
remember.
betul.
I can't
Ah.
remember the brand of that particular baju raya. So then basically that one is actually the things that happen when in the earlier form, company identify that, oh, okay, due to this particular matters, okay, dia nampak this particular celebrity is actually someone that that might probably can attract the customer because of they are popular and then they're physically attractive. So then they ambil that particular person as a source itself. But when it comes to a certain items that happen, so then the company terpaksa eliminates as they don't want to tarnish the brand itself. Ada banyak juga companies yang when it comes to this particular matter, and then contohnya dia dah ada certain agreement, if I'm not mistaken, Nelly Diaz-Senrose, if I'm not mistaken, being appointed by satu brand ni, cosmetic brand, I can't remember apa nama brand tu. So then dia tak promote this particular brand because of suppose that dia kena promote this particular brand, but unfortunately dia tidak promote that particular product, which is mean dia tak bagi information, dia tak ada bagi opinion, ada good attitudes towards that particular brand ataupun behavior dia okay. So then basically that the company itself dia saman lah because of due to the that particular item sebab dia tak menjalankan tanggungjawab dia as one of the spokesperson which is appointed by that particular company. So when it comes to this particular matter, company, they need to make sure that whatever the information that they want to deliver, it should be something that the information should be credible from the credible source in terms of all this particular matter. And this one is also known as internalization. So internalization is actually when adopting the opinions of the credible communicators and believing information from the source is actually accurate lah. So then through these particular processes, receiver should adopt this particular opinion of this particular credible communicator since he or she believe that this particular information datang daripada accurate punya source. Kalau kita tengok contoh iklan kan, tiba-tiba iklan tu dia tunjuklah ada orang ni dia doktor and then dia promote this particular product. Of course kita akan percaya sebab kita tahu the credibility of that particular source. Dia adalah bekerja sebagai doktor and then dia buat pula this particular disseminate of information about that particular product. Of course, customer akan percaya in terms of that particular items. So, one of the company which is Dove, okay, they promotes the fact that this particular product is actually being recommended by the expert, okay, in the skincare. So they use this particular the proof in science, the dermatologists, okay, recommend Dove 7 times more often than Olay. Dia bagi tahu kat sini. So which is mean that here dia menunjukkan the credibility of the source tu datang daripada dermatologist tu sendiri, which is someone who are expert in the skincare. So basically that is actually the source of credibility when it comes to this particular matter. So the next one in terms of the source attractiveness. So source attractiveness is actually the characteristics that encompasses the similarity, familiarity, and also the likability of that particular source. And source attractiveness, normally it leads to the persuasion through a process of identification. And identification is whereby the receiver is being motivated to seek some types of relationship with that particular source, which it adopts similar belief, attitudes, preferences, and also in terms of that particular behavior. So when we talk about this particular source of attractiveness, of course, when it comes to this particular customer, which if they want to make sure, I mean that if the company wants to make the source is actually attractive enough, the source yang dia pilih tu mesti kena ada similarity dengan dia punya target market, which is mean it resemblance between the source and also the recipient of the message. Contohnya kalau kita nak jual lah this particular product and then kita pilih lah artis tu kan, memang dia memang dah kurus, and then you letakkan ubat kurus kat situ untuk dia jual. So dia orang dia nampak macam macam tak ada connection kan. But unless kalau dia ambil someone yang memang dah plus size, and then suddenly you go through the process, and then suddenly dia dah kurus, and then orang yang berbadan besar yang lain, which is mean this particular target audience, dia tengok yang ni, oh okay, so then dia ada nampak the similarity between these particular items. So people, they are more likely to be influenced by a message that coming from someone who they feel there is a sense of similarity. It can be in terms of similar needs, similar goals, similar interests, or it can be a similar lifestyles. Or it can be in terms of the source of attractiveness, someone that has a certain familiarity about that particular matter, which is mean source dia tu dia ada a lots of exposure. Contohnya orang kenal that particular person, and then they're familiar with that particular brand, or might probably in terms of the likability of that particular source, which is mean the affection for that particular source as a result for the physical appearance, behavior, or it can be some of other personal traits lah. So consumer normally they will be admire to this particular physical appearance, the talents, the personality, even if the source is not a well-known person ataupun dia bukan celebrity. So basically, these are the things that the company need to foresee when it comes to the source of attractiveness. So one of the company, Streisand, okay, they sells this particular items, and most of the golf equipment manufacturer, they have some of the endorsement punya deals with professional punya golfer lah. So celebrity pro golfer, normally they are going to endorse their products as it shows in this particular advertisement. They use this particular one of the Japanese punya pro golfer, Matsuyama, to endorse this particular brands accordingly. So to recap, okay, when it comes to the source itself, okay, company, they need to identify in terms of the credibility, which is mean here we are looking in terms of the relevant knowledge. This particular source credibility, dia mestilah ada relevant knowledge, skills, experience, trust, to give some of the unbiased punya information, and then it will goes to the process, which is we call it as the internalization, and then another source of attribute, which is attractiveness. So attractiveness is actually the similarity, the familiarity, and also the likability of that particular source, so that it will lead to the identification, which is mean the customer itself will adopt some belief, attitudes, and also behavior due to this particular attractiveness. And then when it comes to the power itself, power is actually the ability, which is mean the real ataupun it can be a perceived ability of this particular source to administer rewards ataupun to punish this particular receiver lah, which is mean receiver can accept any position to advocate that particular source accordingly. So contohnya kalau macam ada certain orang ni dia dah dipilih daripada source, contohnya macam appoint Datuk Sri Siti Nurhaliza, and then of course dia ada macam certain power yang dia kata okay hari ni dia ada nak bagi gift ataupun dia nak bagi itu, dia nak bagi ini, so then it will go directly to the process, which is we call it as a compliance. Okay, any questions that you want to ask as regard to these particular items? Any questions?
No.
No? Okay, break 5 minutes sekejap, sakit tekak, and I also want to go to the restroom. Sekejap
Okay, madam.
Boleh.
Okay, so welcome back. Okay, so now we are going to discuss on how the company, because of we are looking tadi kita cakap pasal the source. So the source normally it can be in terms of spokesperson, a celebrity, or it can be models. So then the company itself, when they want to choose a celebrity to be the endorser, basically marketers, they need to consider something before they're going to spend the company's money on signing a celebrity as an endorser. So among of all these particular items, there are many important factors that the company need to take into consideration when they are going to identify or appoint this particular celebrity. And the celebrity factors that the company need to take into consideration are the first one, which is the celebrity should be something which is matched between the audience and also with that particular brand itself. So the second one, it can be a celebrity that can be represent an overall image of that particular celebrity. So then image dia bersesuaian dengan that particular product yang dia akan endorse. Contohnya you ambil football player and then you ambil kasut sukan untuk you portray about that particular sports shoes, for example. Tapi macam contoh, dia nampak macam kurang sikit dia punya apa ni the collaboration ataupun the significant between one celebrity with another brand pun ada juga if you can able to encounter. So then dia macam tak represent the image of that particular items. Contoh dia, ada tak you nampak any advertisement, okay, that they appoint this particular celebrity ataupun this particular celebrity, it can be sportsman, artist, it can be singer, actor, actress, and also others. And then they appoint this particular person, I mean that this particular celebrity for this particular product, tapi kita tak nampak dia punya apa tu merger, I mean that the synchronization between the celebrity and also the brand. Ada tak you all perasan? Ada ke? Anyone?
Tak sure, madam.
Tak sure? Takkan tak pernah nampak iklan kot. Mesti ada.
Apa dia, madam?
Yang tak ada kena mengena.
Yes. Dia nampak macam tak sync je dia punya appointment of that particular celebrity and also with that particular product. Dia nampak macam tak sync je.
Lawak kot.
Dan
Pelawak?
Thailand ni kot.
Kenapa dengan Thailand?
Tak ada apa, madam.
So kalau pelawak dengan apa? Which brand? Which product?
Sekejap.
Produk.
Ya. Siapa tu? Oh, okay, Sofia. Oh, okay, Syafiq Rahim. Dia football player. Okay, betul.
Kena kucing. Oh, betul.
Ada nampak tak synchronization dia tu?
Jadi kucing.
Mungkin kalau macam contoh, okay, dia pernah masuk contohnya macam apa tu kita panggil slot majalah 3, no, bukan majalah 3, apa tu
Sama.
macam one of the TV programs, okay, for example macam like dia adalah pencinta kucing. Contoh dia ada bela 30 ekor kucing, 20 ekor kucing. So then dia akan nampak lah ada synchronization dia kat situ. Tapi ada tak Nona, okay, so contohlah Nona kan, ada nampak tak macam contoh there is something that promoting the lifestyle of Syafiq tu yang dia sukakan kucing. So kenapa dia tak ambil macam like this particular cats punya apa ni cafe punya orang ke kan, ataupun owner to represent that particular brand, yang mana that particular cats cafe tu might probably orang tu pun memang quite famous kan when it comes to that particular cats cafe ataupun cats hotel kan. So yang itu pun boleh jadi. Okay. And then contohnya orang ni dia ambil celebrity and this particular celebrity would be appointed as one of this particular macam contoh cooking appliances punya barangan. Tapi kita tak pernah nampak pun this particular celebrity, for example, tunjukkan the daily life dia, dia rajin masak and everything. Suddenly dia being like appointed to be endorsed as a macam ada cooking appliances. So dia akan nampak macam tak tally lah dekat situ. Okay. So company basically that they also need to calculate the cost lah, because of if they want to hire this particular celebrity, of course they need to know the price that they need to pay in order for them to hire this particular celebrity to be endorser. Kalau ambil Datuk Siti Nurhaliza, kita dah tahulah berapa harga yang that particular company kena bayar. Kalau mungkin ambil all this particular celebrity yang mungkin baru-baru nak naik, baru-baru nak up, so might probably dia punya fees dia tak berapa tinggi, tapi dia punya I mean that the popularity is not there. Takut nanti pula brand ni tak jadi macam besar untuk orang dapat the awareness. And then in terms of the trustworthiness of that particular celebrity, and then the risk of controversy, so sama macam tadi lah, macam case yang I can't remember siapa yang bagi tahu tadi, Ruhainis ataupun ambil all this particular celebrity yang ada banyak controversy. So then they need to take into consideration when they want to appoint celebrity, and then the familiarity and also likability of that particular celebrity among the target audience, and also they need to choose the celebrity, sama ada nak ambil celebrity ke ataupun nak ambil social media influencer ke, and then certain companies also they are using the Q score, which or even some other research method in order for them to identify which celebrity yang sepatutnya they appoint to get that particular matter. So the Q score normally it is one of the commercial rating which is developed by the marketing evaluators ataupun evaluation punya company, which it provides the data of popularity on the various celebrity, how well their image, and it might fit with the company and also with the brand. Kalau ada pernah tengok one of the company when they want to engage this particular celebrity, dia akan masukkan dekat dia punya slide presentation kenapa dia engage ataupun dia ambil appoint this particular celebrity, and then dia letaklah kat situ, okay, dia punya followers dekat Instagram berapa juta, and then dia punya TikTok berapa banyak, and then engagement with dia with the brand berapa banyak, and then berapa banyak produk brand international brand yang dia pernah endorse, and then berapa banyak local brand yang dia pernah endorse. So yang itu data dia boleh indicate in terms of the percentage of how well the people would be this particular celebrity would be the favorite ones lah, as it can be one of the celebrity who are popular to be appointed by the company itself. So when the company wants to choose this particular celebrity endorser, they need to identify in terms of applying the likability decorative models also. So as we mentioned, the source study, it can be celebrity or it can be models. Certain companies, they are going to appoint models, and this particular models is actually the one that highly attractive, and also it can be decorative models in the advertisement. And normally company they are going to use model betul-betul, ataupun sometimes certain company they use so-called as real model or models that resemblance this particular typical punya consumer lah. Okay, so kalau dia nak ambil macam contoh untuk advertise this particular plus size, dia akan cari the plus size model. So then it might draw the attention to this particular products or message, which they are also need to identify these particular models yang highly attractive models that can have of course a good impact to this particular matter. So one of it is actually by Dove also. Dove take a social advocacy punya approach, which when they want to promote the beauty products, so dia tak ambil typical product models yang kulit fair sahaja, tapi dia ambil different types, different models to represent that particular brands accordingly. So dia ada models yang mungkin datang daripada different countries and then different skin color. So then it will be appeal to everyday woman and dia punya size of the model pun dia tak adalah totally macam model betul-betul. So then dia ada a mixture of that. So then the company, they are not using the traditional approach of beauty, standard beauty, but also dia pilih someone who are just beautiful the way you are. Okay. So when it comes to choosing the celebrity endorser, also one of the point itself that a company need to foresee is actually in terms of the source power. So the source power is actually when this particular source is actually the one that going to administer the reward and also the punishment to this particular receiver. So the source power actually depends on several factors. So this particular person, they might probably think that the receiver might think that this particular resource, they are the one that cares whether or not the receiver perceive a certain concern, and then this particular person also can be someone who are concerned and then scrutiny, and then they can able to persuade the influence this particular customers according to the matter. So one of the example is actually by this particular company, which is Take Pride, which is in America. So Take Pride is actually one of the US Department of Interior programs that encourage individuals, civics group, and also volunteer to care for the public's land. So the program is actually they use the director Clint Eastwood, okay, as he is actually one of the movie directors, and also he has a certain roles in one of the movie which earned him as an image of dia nampak macam rough, tough guy, and then dia ada good resemblance between that particular items. So dia ada power untuk menarik orang untuk contribute to this particular application of advertising, and then care for the public lands itself lah. Kalau macam dekat Malaysia, source of power, kita boleh tengok lah ada selebriti ni yang dia suka macam pasal environment, and then ada ni yang dia boleh jadi macam sorry sakit environmentalist, and then ada orang ni yang suka ada ni yang pasal children punya welfare, ataupun ada pasal for example any social punya issues. So then dia akan ada the match between that particular person who might probably has a power on that particular matter, and it represent that particular celebrity itself as the one that going to come up as a favorable reaction of that particular matters which is being discussed. So the next one, in terms of the message factor. So when the company itself, they already identify the source. Now they need to think about the message that they want to convey. So how the company should create a good message. So marketers normally they need to consider not only to have a persuasive message, but also the information structure that they want to come up for the presentation of that particular message, and also what appeal that they are going to use is actually important when they try to come up with the structure of the message. So the message structure can be elaborated or defined as a marketing communication that consists of several message points that the communicator wants to get across that particular message. And basically, message structure should be something that can have a persuasive message, which it can influence the effectiveness of that particular message through the order of presentation, conclusion drawing, message sightness, reputation, verbal versus visual message characteristics. So the first one, which is in terms of the message factors, is actually the order of presentation of that particular message. So normally the strongest argument it can be in terms of presented early ataupun late in the message. Contohnya kalau kita nak convey message, kita akan cakap sama ada straight to the point, awal-awal tu message dia adalah apa? Dia akan jadi headline. Ataupun dia cerita dulu benda-benda yang lain and then yang penghujung dia, don't drink and drive. Jangan merokok. Okay, so then dia boleh jadi in terms of that particular message accordingly. So basically it can have a primacy effect ataupun kita panggil sebagai juga another one which is recency effect. So presenting the strongest argument is actually in the beginning we call it as a primacy effect, which you present whatever the information ataupun the message awal-awal dulu sebab kita nampak benda tu adalah efektif. Ataupun it can be a recency effect, which is the argument ataupun the message that you want to convey, you are going to present it at the last as a way for you or the company to persuade that particular customer accordingly. So when it comes to the order of presentation also, you need to identify also, or the company need to identify the length of message tu tak quite lengthy, and then the medium that the company chose to communicate of that particular message is also very crucial. And the second one, which is in terms of conclusion drawing. So conclusion drawing is actually when the message should either draw a firm conclusion or allow the receiver to draw their own conclusion. So which is mean kadang-kadang kita tengok that particular advertisement, kita tak nampak dia ni nak cakap apa ni. So then which is mean that particular audience dia kena fikir sampaikan oleh that particular advertisement ataupun that particular message. So the message normally it can be an explicit conclusion which it is more easily understood and effective in influencing the attitude of the customer. So it depends also with that particular target audience, the type of issues ataupun the type of topics that you want to engage with the customer, and also the nature of the situation that you are going to design for that particular message. So the next one, in terms of the message sightness. So the message sightness can be divided into two, one-sided message or it can be two-sided message. So one-sided message is actually a message that being mentioned only positive attributes ataupun only the positive benefits about that particular product and also services. So two-sided message normally it represent both, which is mean ada yang baik dia, ada juga yang the bad points. So it is effective when the target audience, when it comes to two-sided message, it holds an opposition opinions ataupun that particular audience are highly educated. So Volkswagen, for example, they are using this particular two-sided message strategy, which they acknowledge that the VW in 2015 about the diesel scandal, while it promotes the electric punya vehicles. So then dia buat ada dua-sided of that particular message lah, yang mana in 2015 ada skandal pasal diesel, and then at the same time also dia tengah promotekan electric car, yang mana Volkswagen dia nak keluarkan electric car. So dia ada dua isu yang kat situ yang dia cuba encounter for that particular message that they want to convey. So the next one, in terms of refutation. So refutational appeals is actually the communicator present both sides of the issues and also they refutes the opposing punya viewpoints. And refutational punya message is very useful for the marketers if they want to build attitudes that resist changes of that particular matters ataupun defense against attack ataupun criticism about that particular products and also about that particular criticism on the company. So one of the company which is used this particular reputation punya appeal is actually SeaWorld's park and also entertainment, which they use this particular reputational punya message as a part of how they integrate this particular campaign to defend themselves against the criticism on the PETA punya issues and also the other animal punya activist punya groups lah. So then yang ini dia refute whatever apa benda yang orang cakap, and then they come up with this particular message that they want to convey. So the next one is actually in terms of verbal versus virtual message. So normally companies, they are using the pictures that currently used by conveying the information or reinforced copy or the message itself. So then many advertisement normally they use minimal information, sebab dalam advertisement kan takkan nak tulis panjang-panjang ayat kan, nanti orang tak sempat nak baca kan. So normally they rely on visual punya element in order for them to communicate basically. So verbal and also virtual portion in advertisement influence is actually depends on that particular company structure. As one of this particular example is actually by Springwater Arrowhead Mountain, which they use the beautiful visual punya image of the mountains as to communicate the key product attributes of purity of the water itself to this particular customer. Okay, so can we have 5 minutes break sekejap? Sakit tegak?
Boleh, madam.
Boleh,
Thank
madam.
you.
Boleh.
Okay, welcome back.
Welcome back, madam.
Okay, so the next one, which is message appeal. So in the message that the company wants to create, they need to have one of the things that can create as an appeal for that particular message. So there are several common types of message appeal which commonly being used. They are comparative advertising, fear, and also humor. So comparative advertising can be referred as a directly ataupun indirectly naming the competitors and in that particular advertisement and comparing one or more specific attributes about that particular matter. So direct comparison as commonly that they are going to put up the name of that particular competitors, highlight the point of differentiation, while the indirect comparison, normally it will be used in a general terms of reference competitors without naming them. So in Malaysia, and also some parts of the other countries, especially in Asian market, we are not using the comparative, I mean that direct comparative advertising, which is mean produk A, produk B, dia letak sebelah menyebelah and then dia letak nama that particular brand secara direct. Contohnya produk apa ni pencuci jenama Dynamo lagi bagus daripada pencuci jenama Daya. Contoh, dia takkan letak macam tu. So dekat Malaysia kita tak boleh buat direct comparative advertising. Kita boleh buat indirect comparative advertising, which is mean sabun pencuci Dynamo sebelah dia mesti sabun pencuci jenama X. Okay, so then this particular approach basically that it can highlight the advantages and also the superior features about that particular advertisers offering over the competitors, which in the goals that they want to persuade the consumer to choose their product and also services instead of the competitors. But if you go to some other countries, especially in US and also some other parts of the countries, they can do this particular direct comparative advertising. Letaklah kat sini Coke versus Pepsi. Coke lagi better dari Pepsi, Pepsi tak sedap, dia akan cakap macam tu, so then boleh. Cuma dekat negara lain, ada setengah negara, Japan, Malaysia, so then some other countries selalunya dia tak boleh buat macam tu because of it, just like you demeaning another brands, which is you try to show that your brand is actually superior, better, tak boleh macam tu. So then you just can show the differences about that particular brand with another competitor's brand. So the second one, which is the companies can use another message appeal, which is fear appeals. So fear appeals is actually where fear appeals, they try to evoke the emotional responses of that particular danger ataupun the arouses of individual to take steps to remove that particular threats. So it can be in terms of the stress, physical danger, threaten disapproval, ataupun social rejection, used to discourage unsafe behavior. So then this particular fear appeals commonly being used, especially macam contoh company they try to come up with the message yang pasal illegal drugs ataupun pasal merokok, and then pasal drink and drive, and also kadang-kadang ada juga pasal social rejection. Contohnya macam takut tak ada apa ni boyfriend, tak ada girlfriend suka dengan awak, apa ni kenalah pakai mouthwash for example. So then ada juga yang buat in terms of that particular matter. So, fear appeals are more effective when the recipient is actually having a self-confidence and prefer to cope with the danger and also with that particular non-user itself lah. So, fear appeals normally also will discourage unsafe behavior. Contohnya macam drinking and driving ataupun driving while texting ataupun SMS ke ataupun reply the SMS. So then yang benda ini boleh digunakan as a fear punya appeal. So company identify that there is a relationship between the fear level and also the message acceptance, which is mean that here you manage to see that there is a low levels of fear that can facilitating the effect, which it can attract the attention and interest of that particular message, which it can motivate the receiver to act to solve that particular threats. In order to increase the fear from low to moderate, it can result in increase of persuasion. So you manage to see that there is a high level of fear, which is mean that here it can produce certain effects after having that particular emotional blocks of the message turn out, and then sometimes it can be something that this particular audience they deny the arguments on that particular matters accordingly. So then this one is actually the after effect of the fear levels and also message acceptance. So the next one, which is in terms of the humor appeal. Humor appeals is commonly being used, and it is easier for the company to use this particular humor appeals as it is one of the best, and also it can be something that can be remembered among of all the advertisement. So humor is being used for many reasons. So for example, companies, they want to attract and hold the consumer attention. They want to pull the positive moods of the consumer, and then they want to distract the consumer from arguing against that particular message accordingly. So this particular humor strategy is actually very good to utilize the humor as you want to capture the attention of that particular audience, and at the same time you want to convey the message to promote this particular product and also services. So certain companies, sometimes they try to use this particular negative effect of the humor advertisement on the consumer, which they want to distract it from the brand and attributes, which is difficult to produce, and sometimes it may be too subtle for that particular matter. So one of the example here is actually by Volkswagen. They show this particular how humor can be used effectively in a printed punya advertisement, which they want to convey the message as they use this particular porcupine, which precisely dia parked, boleh park elok-elok je dekat dengan plastik ni as to avoid popping the goldfish punya bag lah. So then walaupun nampak ada space dia ni very tight, so which is mean that here Volkswagen kereta dia still boleh masuk fit accordingly macam ni dekat this particular car accordingly. So then this one is actually, for example, they want to introduce the new a new message to this particular customer, which kereta ni ada new features, which is ada safely park using the Volkswagen punya new features lah, macam mana cara untuk that particular kereta boleh masuk parking ngam-ngam, ikut that particular space yang ada. Tadi I dengar macam ada adik bunyi something. Ada sama-sama nak tanya apa-apa ke? Tak ada?
Tak ada, madam.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so the next one. In terms of the channel factors. Tadi kita dah cakap pasal source, pasal message. Now kalau dekat dalam communication process, kita ada channels tu sendiri. So channel factors is actually when it is being used as the medium to deliver the message to this particular target audience. And channels, it can be in two versions ataupun through two items, which is it can be a broad media punya categories, which is a personal punya channels ataupun dia ada non-personal punya channels. So basically, this particular information that received from the personal channels is actually more persuasive rather than by using the mass media. Kalau you gunakan TV, you gunakan radio, you gunakan newspaper, so dia tak akan ada elements of that particular persuasion itself, as if you go directly in detail for the personal itself, so then dia ada all this particular intermediate punya factors. So the effect of alternative mass media is that you can able to see that there is a differences in the manner that the rate of information from the various form of media can be transmitted and can also be processed. So when it comes to these particular channels also, companies normally they are going to see the effect of the context and also the environment of that particular channels. So basically, the interpretation of the advertising message can be influenced by the context ataupun by the environment of that particular advertisement is being appeared. So the image of the media vehicle can affect the reaction of that particular message. So the media environment normally it can create the nature of that particular program which the commercial is being appear, and sometimes the advertisers they are going to pay a quite amount of money to advertise the product in a popular punya program to create a positive mood. Contohnya macam dia letaklah dekat dalam Gegar Vaganza ke, dekat many highly punya TV programs, ataupun yang mana kalau dia nak letak dalam magazine, this particular magazine normally is yang readership throughout the whole year tinggi. So then they can place this particular channels in, for example, macam sitcom yang popular ke, ataupun sporting event yang highly watched by the audience, and then award shows, or it can be in terms of holiday punya specials. So basically, it can be one of this particular matter. So one of this particular magazine, which is Travel Plus Leisure, they creates the excellence reception environment for the travel related punya advertisement, because of they identify that this one is actually the right channel for them to convey about whatever the channel vehicles that can affect the reaction of that particular message. So when a company use the channels, normally there will be what we call it as a clutter. So clutter can be defined as the amount of advertising in the medium. For example, if customers they are, or the audience they are watching television, so cluster includes all the non-programs materials that will be appeared in that particular broadcast punya environment. For example, kalau kita tengok TV, dia akan ada commercials, and then kan sometimes dia ada promotion message that shows dekat dalam that particular TV, ataupun akan ada public service announcement PSA, ataupun it can be some other things when it comes to that particular matter. So clutter basically it can increase the concerns of advertiser, because of there are so many message that the company try to gain for the customer attention, and sometimes when the viewer ataupun the audience watch television for 3 hours punya program, during the prime time lah, kita cakap pasal pukul 8 malam sampai pukul 10 malam tu, there are major networks that can be subjected to many advertisement during that time. So many advertiser dia akan berebut-rebut nak masukkan slot dia untuk commercial during that particular prime time. So the problem is that advertiser they need to find ways to break this particular clutter, because of kalau nak orang tengah fokus ni tengok drama ni kan, so then dia kena ada all this particular message yang dia nak sampaikan tu, dia mesti kena ada element of celebrity as a spokesperson ke, ataupun ada creative approach ke, ataupun something which is humorous, so then orang akan tengok that particular iklan lah. If not, takkan jadi apa-apa lah, which is mean customer takkan, ataupun the audience takkan nampak that particular matters accordingly. Okay, so this one is actually the channel factors. This one nanti you all boleh tengok sendirilah when it comes to this particular matter. Okay. So the next one, the advertising message. So basically, when it comes to the advertising message, company, of course, they need to come up with a creative advertising message. And when we talk about creative, so then company, they need to come up with a creative strategy in order for them to convey that particular advertising message. So the creative strategy itself will determine what the message that they should say and also what message that they can able to communicate. And when we talk about the creative strategy, they need to come up with a good creative tactics. So creative tactics is actually how the message strategy will be executed. And basically for this particular example, BMW, they use the advertising to use the creative to create the image ataupun association and position the brand in the consumer mind, which is they are using the brand positioning. So then many consumer that never driven BMW perceive that BMW is actually the ultimate driving machine as it is being portrayed by the advertisement itself. So that which is mean the advertisement itself, they focus on the ultimate road home sales punya event, and then dia akan nampak lah kat sini because of the tagline of the BMW is actually the ultimate driving machine. So then bagi orang yang tak pernah bawa, dia tak tahulah kan, jadi dia faham that that is actually the things that happen when it comes to buying BMW and so driving BMW. So the creative advertisement, basically, these are the good things, the importance of having creativity in advertising, good creative strategy, do not always increase the sales. Sometimes it can revive a declining brand, and then sometimes it can help in terms of the industry that has ambivalent towards the advertising award itself. Okay, so then this one, the advertising creativity. So then in terms of a different perspective, nanti you all just boleh go through saja. So then what makes the creativity in the advertising? So then basically advertising creativity is actually able to generate fresh, unique and appropriate ideas that can be used as a solution to the communication problems. So then the communication problems. So there are two things which is important in advertising creativities. We look in terms of the divergence and also in terms of the relevance. So divergence, which is mean that here refers to the advertisement that contains elements that are novel, different, or it is unusual. So when it comes to the relevance, it reflects the degree to which the various elements of that particular advertisement are meaningful, useful, and also valuable to these particular customers. So this particular advertisement to consumer relevance normally contains the execution of elements that has a meaningful to this particular customer. Contohnya, advertiser dia akan gunakan celebrities which the consumer can identify with in terms of what is actually the music that they like, the visual image, the execution of techniques, which it can capture the interest and also the attention of that particular audiences. So this one is actually one of the divergence punya advertising creativities, which is KFC hot and spicy chicken. They use this particular divergence based on the originality and artistic punya values lah. So then dia tunjuk lah, nampaklah macam ayam yang pedas and then keluar daripada kereta yang api dia macam tu kan. So then dia menunjukkan all this particular matters according. So this one, creativity, advertising, recap their findings daripada studies, and then this one is actually the impact of combination of creative elements with the sales itself. So kalau ada originality and ada a good elaboration, so then effectiveness dia adalah plus 96 lah, which is out of 100, which is 96. Originality plus artistic value 89, tapi kalau you guna flexibility and artistic value, dia less effective lah, which is minus 99. Okay, I stop until that part. This one we are going to continue on Thursday. Is that okay?
Okay, madam.
Okay, any questions that you want to ask as regard to this particular chapter until that part? Any questions?
So far belum lagi.
Okay. So then I will see you all again on, macam jauh sangat bunyi dia kan. I see you on tomorrow lah. And then
Okay.
I also will pinpointing some of the important things which is in this particular chapter, and then after that kita akan discuss on the assignment. So the rest of it you just can go through, and for those who bought already the ebook, you boleh baca the ebook accordingly, as I already appoint the chapters that you can able to read in that particular weeks accordingly. So thank you very much everyone for your attendance today. See you all again tomorrow. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you,
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you,
madam.
madam.
Welcome.
Thank you.